I'm Susan. Welcome to Tea and Games. The tea today is still PG tips. I say still because I'm recording two videos back to back. So same t-shirt, same bad hair, same tea. This video is going to be a mid-year board game challenge video. I know I almost did two challenge videos back to back, but I put another one in there between them. I was tagged by two different people to do this challenge, so I really had to do it. Reggie started this tag challenge thing. I think he did it last year, maybe the year before too, and it's kind of a mid-year overview of your game playing, answering certain specific questions. He tagged me in a Discord, and then Ian over at Where There's a Wilz, There's a Play, tagged me in a video. So I will put links to both of their mid-year game challenge videos in the description below. So yes, let's get to it. The first question is, what is your favorite game so far this year? Well, as you recall from the previous video, we just got Above and Below Haunted delivered. We've only had one play of it. And technically it's not, it came after mid-year, so I don't know. I feel like we did enjoy it, but I feel like I've got to give that whole favorite game so far this year to something else that we've been playing a lot. And it's going to be a bit of a coin toss here. I got two games in mind and I'm not sure which one I should pick. But top two is going to be Space Base, which Robert and I are playing a huge amount on the table, and we are also playing a huge amount with friends on Board Game Arena. And then there is Obsession, which we don't own because we played it for the first time in the first week in February, I think, when we went to Pelican. We learned the game and played it at Pelican and had to have it, but it was out of print. So, yeah, I've been trying to get a hold of a copy. It is now being restocked. I mean, the restock is happening. It was delayed just a little bit, but the restock is definitely happening, and it is available for pre-order on the publisher, Kayenta Games, on the publisher's website right now, and I've pre-ordered it. So sometime and it should go out sometime around the end of the month. So yeah, I'm going to be playing that a lot for the second half of the year, I think, definitely. But see, I've been playing it with friends on Board Game Arena a lot because I don't have it to play on my table. So I feel like that the lack of access to Obsession has given it just a little bit, puts it a little bit lower than Space Base, because we've been playing Space Base a huge amount. I mean, it's just gotten crazy, the number of games that we've played, and I've even got a couple of expansions for it. So favorite game this year, I might end up liking Obsession more than Space Base, but I think I may end up playing Space Base more. It's very hard. That's going to be a very hard one to pick. I think I might go with Space Base because I don't technically actually have Obsession, but I am obsessed with it. What is your most played game? Well, it depends on if you count Board Game Arena plays. If you count Board Game Arena plays, then my most played game is definitely Martian Dice. I mean, I've played it 122 times this year on Board Game Arena because the physical version is not available, but it is being reprinted. If you missed my previous video, I mentioned it there. Calliope Games is doing a reprint. It looks like it's really happening. They've got new art. It's on the publisher's website as out of stock coming soon. And it is allegedly maybe supposed to be a Gen Con release. So yeah, I think Martian Dice could end up being most played on the table eventually, once we get it to play on the table. But for Board Game Arena, yeah, it's going to be Martian Dice. I mean, it plays at 2 players. It plays so fast. But it's a lot of fun. Now, for non-Board Game Arena games, most played game is definitely going to be Carcassonne. That tends to end up at the top or near the top. It has not yet been bumped off by Space Base. Carcassonne has 14 plays, and that's on the table. Space Base has more total plays than Carcassonne, with 12 Board Game Arena plays and 12 games on the table. So it has more total plays, but in terms of actually on the table, it's still lagging just barely below. What was your biggest surprise so far this year? Our biggest surprise, certainly my biggest surprise this year for on-the-table games is, and I'm specifying on-the-table games, I don't know that I've been particularly surprised by Board Game Arena plays, but it's Ticket to Ride Nordic countries. And the reason it was the biggest surprise is because I had played this some years ago on an app against an AI. And it was okay, but not great. And I just kind of felt like, I don't know, just maybe not as fun as some of the other games in the Ticket to Ride family. And so after a few plays, I didn't play it anymore. And that was some time ago. And maybe I'm just a much better board gamer now, although, I wouldn't actually put any money on that, me being a better board gamer by now. But we got Ticket to Ride earlier this year, and Nordic countries, earlier this year, and we played it. And Robert and I both just loved it to death. I was not expecting to like it. I was expecting to think, okay, this is fine. It's another version of Ticket to Ride we can play. It's got a nice map. We can play it in the winter, kind of a seasonal thing. But no, we're just kind of playing it all the time now. Because I was thinking, we'll pull it out at Christmas. But no, we're playing it all the time now. We are liking it so much that I do think that there is a possibility that it could bump off Ticket to Ride Europe Anniversary Edition as our favorite version of Ticket to Ride. Now, Nordic countries, if you're not familiar with that version of Ticket to Ride, it is a 2 to 3 player game. So a greatly constrained player count. It isn't as tight and fast and crunchy as the city games in the Ticket to Ride series, like London and San Francisco and New York, and those are 2-player only games, and very small board, very tight. This has a lot more breathing space. You get a more expansive feel. It feels more like a whole game because you got a bunch of these countries, and you got some pretty long routes too. But it plays well with 2. I think it's going to be a much tighter board with 3 players. But 2 and 3 player is what it's made for, and it is really optimized for that player count. And since we primarily play at 2 players, it really hit the sweet spot. I don't know what the dealio was when I played it on the app against an AI years and years ago, but it didn't really click with me. It was just not great. But on the table at 2 players, I don't know what the difference is, but we just love it. And I was just shocked at how much we loved it. I was expecting it just to be okay, something we pull out in the wintertime around Christmas, one of those winter-themed games. But no, it's hitting the table every month. So yeah, that was a huge surprise. What games, question number 4, if you're keeping count, what games production art has impressed you the most? Okay, it's got to be Above and Below Haunted, even though we got this just past the mid-year point, because it was delivered last weekend. The production on this, it is breathtakingly beautiful. We got the deluxe edition, which has the upgraded components, like more wooden components and metal coins, but also just the artwork on this. I mean, this thing is just stunning. And when we put it on the game topper that we have on top of our dining room table for gameplay, and we got the Ryan Lockett map for it. When we put it on there with this map, I mean, the whole thing is just like, oh. So yeah, I mean, it's just so beautiful. And the extras that we got with the Game Found campaign are just so very, very, it really elevates the game. And I would definitely have to give it to that, because it's just a knockout, an absolute knockout. Before we got that, I don't know, it would have been between Obsession and Taverns of Tiefenthal, because they both have very good, solid production. And I love the cards in Obsession. I mean, it doesn't have like tons and tons of flashy pieces, but those cards, each one is an individual character with flavor text, and it just really immerses you in this kind of quasi-Victorian Regency era, I'm not even sure what era it is, world, with these socialite people with all of their pet peeves and things. So yeah, that I think if we hadn't gotten Above and Below Haunted before I did this challenge thing, I might have given it to Obsession, simply because I am just so delighted with the cards. And there aren't a whole lot of cards that you can say that you just like going through the cards and reading them all. I mean, there are a lot of card games that we have where I just love going through the cards because of the artwork. Creature Caravan, another Ryan Lockett game. I mean, I could just like flip through that deck all day looking at the wonderful artwork on those cards. But I mean, the text on the Obsession cards, it just really elevates the game. So I felt like that needed a mention, since Above and Below kind of fell just barely over that mid-year deadline kind of thing. And that's Above and Below Haunted rather than the regular. Okay, and another honorable mention in terms of production is, I want to give an honorable mention to Mythwind, because that save system they have for the campaign game with the trays is just brilliant. That game is like the easiest to table, put away, and table again, and save everything that you've done of any campaign game possibly ever. And I just basically wish every single campaign game had a save system just like that. Although I realize that for some campaign games that probably wouldn't be possible just due to the nature of play. But still, wow, that save system is just wonderful. What has been your most reliable introductory game? That's question number 5. I haven't introduced any new gamers introduced any new people to gaming in the first part of this year. But I would say Carcassonne is still the most reliable, because somebody that is not familiar with, I know a lot of people, their game for like most reliable game for, it's like something that's got actual mechanisms and stuff that you do all this stuff, and I'm just looking at this and I'm going like, yeah, right. If I put that on the table in front of my friends who are not non-gamers, they definitely would not become gamers. They would run screaming into the night. But Carcassonne, literally anybody can play it. You lay the tiles down, you match up the edges, you complete cities and roads. Now, what I do for introductory gamers is we play without fields. A lot of times Robert and I play without fields because, let's face it, fields are a pain in the neck. I mean, they do make the game more competitive, but I don't know, on the table they're very fiddly. In the digital version, not the board game arena version, but like the app version and the Steam version of Carcassonne, you can click a little button that's got like a little stalk of wheat on it, and it will show you where the fields are. So you can see your fields and other fields and where you need to put that tile to start claiming a piece of somebody else's field and maybe turn it over. But on the actual table, fields are just a pain in the neck. So if you play Carcassonne without fields, it is the dead simplest game that you can introduce to a non-gamer. And they will enjoy it because it is competitive. You're competing for those cities and those roads, and you're trying to get points, and it's really easy to understand. And if they really, really like it, then maybe you can roll in fields or an expansion or something, because believe you me, that's how you ramp up Carcassonne and get it heavier and heavier with the expansions and the mini expansions. You start rolling those things in, and that game quickly becomes not simple at all very quickly. So yeah, I would definitely still say that. If you're talking card game, maybe the base game of Doomlings, I've taught that to non-gamers. That works pretty well. When you start rolling in expansions though, that gives you new terminology and different types of actions, and you're going to lose people. Five Crowns is a card game that is very rummy-like. If you have an older non-gamer audience that knows how to play things like rummy and gin rummy and playing card games, Five Crowns is definitely the way to go, because it's basically a variation on that kind of thing. Only it's got 5 suits, and the wild cards are a really fun way of doing wild cards too. So, and you can pick that up like pretty much anywhere. I think Barnes & Noble here carry it amongst their like little random card games. So those are some good ideas for games to introduce to non-gamers, depending upon what their background in gaming is. If they're older and they play card games, I might go with Five Crowns. If they're younger and they're into card games, then Doomlings without any expansions. If you're just trying to get them into the board game thing, then Carcassonne is the way to go, particularly if they just have little or no experience with on-the-table games. What game do you want to get off your shelf of shame in the second half of the year? Not what game do you really, really want to get off of your shelf of shame, but what game do you want to get off of your shelf of shame in the next 6 months? Yeah, We don't so much think of our unplayed games as a shelf of shame at this particular point in time, because up until last fall, we were keeping up with playing games as we got them. Right now, but last fall, because I knew tariffs were coming. After the election, I knew tariffs were coming. It's like somebody runs on something as unpopular as tariffs and gets elected, then that's a promise they're definitely keeping. So I knew tariffs were coming, so I started stockpiling games last fall. We bought a lot of games before Christmas, and before the tariffs hit early in this year, I was still buying games, trying to get stuff that were still on the shelves in stock. So our shelf of shame, we're looking at it as a stockpile. And so we've got quite a few. But one of the games we picked up because we found it on sale, on our anniversary no less, is Sleeping Gods Distant Skies, a campaign game. And we wanted to get Sleeping Gods back to the table because we had gotten an expansion for it. And that didn't happen. But now we've got a game topper, so that might happen. But we got Distant Skies now, and I understand combat's better. So, yeah, I would say Distant Skies is maybe the one that's in our stockpile that I really want to make a start on in the second half of this year. We might not get all the way through the campaign, but yeah, I definitely want to make a start on that. Which game, this is question number 7, which game from 10 plus years ago did you discover this year? Y'all that have been watching this channel regularly know I am really not about the hotness. I mean, I have posted some videos where I'm all excited because I'm actually playing a game that is new, and that is actually one of the games people are talking about that is a new hot game. But that is actually not most of what we play. We tend to play things that have been around for a while. And especially last fall, I started kind of leaning in to getting games that are considered classics. So it's like early this year, I got to looking at the list of what we've been playing this year, and the number of games that we played that are over 10 years old is kind of staggering. For a lot of folks, it's like, oh God, did I play a game that's older than 10 years in these 6 months? But I'm looking at this and I'm going like, well, take your pick. We've got Martian Dice, that's over 10 years old, played on Board Game Arena, and I'm hoping to get it to the table when it's reprinted, which should be in the next month or so. Mountain Goats is over 10 years old, and I played that on Board Game Arena first, but we've now got it on the table. Jaipur, I played for the first time at Pelican in February, and we've now got it, and we're playing it on the table. A 2-player classic. Ticket to Ride Nordic Countries that I mentioned earlier, that is over 10 years old. 5 Crowns. Card game, which I mentioned earlier, over 10 years old. Canasta that I played on Board Game Arena, that's a very old game, a classic playing card game. Hand and Foot, which is a variation on Canasta that I played on Board Game Arena, is again a playing card game that is very old. We got Tapple this year and played Tapple for the first time. That's over 10 years old. And Turn and Taxi. I have not yet played the expansion thingy that I got at Pelican, but I have played the original Turn and Taxi on Board Game Arena with friends, and that is over 10 years old. And that's something to keep in mind if you feel like, oh gee, I'm just getting a lot of new hot games and I'm playing the new hot games on Board Game Arena, and you're using Board Game Arena to learn new games. Look into their back catalog. They have got a ton of games that have been around for a long time. And a lot of those games are classics too. I mean, just totally classics. I wish Taverns of Tiefenthal were on there, but it is not, sad to say. But yeah, they've got a lot of classic games on there. Of the games that are on my list, I mentioned Jaipur. We've played that on Board Game Arena too. It is a 2-player game. It is on BGA, along with Martian Dice, Mountain Goats, Canasta, Hand and Foot, and Turn and Taxi. Those are all games that are on Board Game Arena. So if you want to do this challenge and you realize that you have no games older than 10 years old that you've done in the past 6 months, you can get them on Board Game Arena. Which anticipated releases are you most excited about for the second half of the year? Well, since Above and Below Haunted has delivered, although it technically delivered just barely into the second half of the year, I am no longer looking forward to that. That's been my most anticipated game for like a year now, because I started following it on GameFound, the project, before the project even went live. So my most anticipated release for the second half of the year is going to be Martian Dice, which is finally going to be reprinted, and hopefully it's going to be a Gen Con release. It is on the Calliope Games publisher's website. So I'm looking forward to that. I mean, it's a small, simple game, but it packs a lot of fun into it, and that's kind of a dice game thing, you know? But I am also really, really looking forward to the restock of Obsession when I will finally get my pre-ordered copy of Obsession and get it onto the table instead of just playing it on Board Game Arena. So it is scheduled to ship around the end of the month or just before the end of the month. So I'm really looking forward to that. And bonus question, what's your favorite video that you posted to your channel? Oh, well, that's easy. Tabletop Tag with my husband Robert. It is the only time that he has appeared in any way on these videos, and he doesn't actually appear on the video. He is a disembodied voice right off to the side, and he and I do the tabletop tag together, and that is my all-time that is my favorite video this year. That is probably my all-time favorite video on this channel, simply because he did it with me, and I really enjoyed doing that with him, just more than anything. It just meant a lot to me. I would say the video I did about the Game Topper would probably come in a slow second for best favorite video this year, because I was just so excited about getting it. But yeah, that is actually a distant second. But who do I want to tag on this? So many people have already done this that I think what I'm going to do is I am going to throw out a general tag. If you are watching this video and you have a YouTube channel and you're doing board game stuff on your YouTube channel, do a tag, a mid-year challenge tag. I challenge you, anonymous viewer who is probably going to comment. Please comment. I challenge you to do a video and answer these questions, which I will copy paste into the description of this one. Answer these questions about your first 6 months of the year playing games. And because I want to see the answers, tag me back so that I can look at them. And that is going to be it for now. I got a couple of videos recorded today, so I feel like I did pretty good despite the bad hair. I've got my tea to keep me going. And I will see y'all next time round the table. Hopefully it won't be too long from now. Bye.